This is Deborah Kiger, Church Hub Specialist for the General Counsel Office of Vocation, and this video is to describe how to add, edit, and delete pastoral charge officer roles. You would go to your Community of Faith Church Hub page, and on your Community of Faith page, you would choose the Officers and Roles tile. And on that tile, you will see a list of officers that we already have on record for your Community of Faith. And that would be because you have entered them already, or they were entered via your most recent statistics submission. To add an officer role, you choose the add function. And you would enter the person's first name, last name, an email address, and a phone number. Then you would choose the role from the list of roles. There are 2 pages of various officers and roles that you might have in a community of faith. You select a role and you submit or select, and then you can also enter address information, which would be entered into the National Churches database along with the person's email and phone number. When you click submit, your request or your information on that person is sent to the national database and processed. And you will see any name that you have added will show up on the list here below of contacts that have just been submitted and are being processed. Sometimes contacts such as a search team actually receive an invitation to Church Hub, but not all officers and roles have Church Hub usernames. You can, if in your congregation, a officer changes roles, which often happens, you can edit the role by choosing the edit function at the end of the line by the person's name. And here is when you would go back, you would go into the list again and change the role that that person is now holding. And that would be added, it would be changed here in their list. So now this person is Christian Education Lead. If you wanted to update the person's or edit the person's contact information, you would choose Update Officer Contact Details. And on this line, you would choose the Edit option. And you will see that you cannot change the person's last name. The last name is locked. It's populated by the database, and that is just in order to prevent any mistakenly entered changes whereby you actually change a person's last name in the database. If you wanted to update their title or their first name or their email address or their phone, you could do that here, as well as their home address information. And when complete, you would submit that change, and that new information would be entered into the General Counsel database. Back to the officer's role list, if you wanted to delete an officer's role, or if this person is no longer serving in a role, in an officer role, you would use the delete function here. And you would say, yes, I want to delete this record. So you would delete it. And then you would be able to add a new officer in that place. But if you're just changing, if you have a board chair and you're changing the name of the board chair, you would delete the existing board chair and then add a new one by going to Add Officer Roles. I hope this has helped you to understand how to use the Officers and Roles tile on Church Hub. And if you need help, you can email ministry@united-church.ca.